Alright, hello everyone, how are you guys doing? I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Today we're here with another video, so before we get into it, I've had a lot of requests to start up a clan chat, so you guys can join large Exp.lamp if you want to go ahead and hit that up. Also on top of this, before we get into it, obviously I'm a little sick, so you guys will notice that throughout the video, but I will be using a website called GE Tracker, their sponsor. I don't want to pimp it out in a video, but I use it in the video, and a lot of times people get upset with me if I don't mention that I'm also sponsored, so that'll be in the description down below, but let's go ahead and get on into it. Alright, so today is the third episode of kind of a series I've had on and off. I never really make these videos out of necessity, more so I see something I like and I go ahead and show you guys. So, this will be the third rendition of what you should be merging, and basically, I mean, it's pretty obvious by the series name, but this is just a series in which I tell you guys what I think are the best long-term investments currently in the game. So, this won't be anything that will be short-term. It will probably be, at least in this example, 2 to 3 months until you can get your return on it, but I can guarantee you it's pretty much guaranteed money as far as that goes. So if you're someone that doesn't like to flip and stand around at the GE constantly, and you'd rather have your money be invested elsewhere than just having a cash stack, feel free to check out this video. Or if you guys want to have ideas as far as items to work towards and get money to go ahead and invest in later, that will be good as well. But just know before we get into this that the later you invest, the less profit you're going to get, and there's almost a guaranteed way to make money with this. Now, the problem with long-term merging is you don't know how it's going to work. This one, it's pretty much guaranteed. I don't think the hype's hit yet, so I think you guys will have a lot of time to go ahead and do this. Now, the video may change that, but I don't think this video will get that many views, so you guys should be good. Alright, so this video will be around investing for the Inferno. Now, if you guys don't know what the Inferno is, I'll go ahead and have some things up on screen now. It's pretty much a JAD 2 boss. This was released, I guess, kind of in EOC. They released a second version of JAD that was supposed to be much harder, and I think really was challenging at the very beginning. So the thing with this is that this boss is going to be challenging, obviously, as they've said before, and it's going to be for higher tier players, so you have to find items that are going to really resonate with those people. Some people may be doing this for a pet potentially, so there may be even more incentive to camp it more than just once, or it may not have a pet initially, and people only have to do it once. Either way, I feel like with the level of difficulty that it'll have, there will be a ton of supplies that are gone through, a ton of need for items as soon as it comes out, and I think that this is what you guys can capitalize on. So I'll kind of go through some items, where they currently are at, and where I think that they could peak. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and kind of hop on into the items I think that could go ahead and raise, and I'll talk about where I think they are now, or not where I think they are now, there's a set price for where they are now, and where I think that they will be in the future. Now there are some things that you have to consider, and I'll go ahead and throw out some examples of them now. So one thing that I feel like will be a solid investment will be higher tier darts, so stuff above Mithril. I don't know how hard this is going to be and what people are going to want to invest. I have kind of a feeling that Rune would be the most commonly used one, since it is supposed to be a harder boss, and no one wants to invest into Dragon, really, but I feel like some people still will for like time stamps and stuff like that, like having the best time there. So to start, Adamant Darts currently are at 170 GP, and if we go ahead and go back to Adamant bar prices, now this is one thing you kind of have to realize, is Adamant Darts are 170. To go ahead and make all of the bars into darts, you would end up only being able to cap Adamant Darts at about 220 GP per, as you can make 10 dart tips per bar, and people kind of would want to get fletching XP, so that's one thing you guys have to take into consideration, is Adamant Darts would be a good investment. However, the max they'd go would be about 200 to 210, I would imagine. Now obviously Adamant bars could fluctuate in price and also go up, which they definitely, I mean, they might go up to like 2.5, and then darts could go up to about 220 each is what I would guess. But I mean, obviously with everything in this video, you guys have to kind of make your own assumptions on which one's best for you. But with that being said, Adamant Darts I feel like are an item that would go from about 170 to about 220 GP per one. Now that being said, we'll go ahead and move on to Rune Darts, so let me go and find those real quick. Alright, so Rune Darts are currently chilling at about 1100 GP each. I believe these would hop to about 1250, so you'd be making about 150, and you'd be getting a pretty decent return, I think of about like 13-14% on your investment into these. I feel like they would go up pretty big. As you guys can see here, they peaked at 13-14 at one point, and they've kind of been peaking ever since Chambers of Zarek. So the problem is like they used to be really low, and now since the raids are out, they've kept a really good price for raids, I would imagine. And so at that point, you've kind of gotten to a point where you can't make all that much money on it because rune bars are 13k per one, which means that you only lose 2k off making this, which means they don't have that much of a room to grow. And rune stuff comes into the game pretty often, so rune bars aren't going to change that much, I wouldn't imagine. So on to the next one. This is a pretty obvious one, and I believe most people could go ahead and see this for themselves. So this is going to be Zobrist Scales. This one could actually be really good because at the time people are going to need Zobrist Scales. As you guys can see, Chambers of Zarek, or the Raids release, brought Zobrist Scales all the way to 160. Even during the summer, they were up to 174. It shows that they can get to an extreme price. The problem here is that you can convert weapons into scales now, which may kind of not as much value scales, but I still think that they would go from about 107, which they are now, to around 150 to 160. Solely because people are going to know that, at least as far as the last one worked, it's going to be pretty much primarily range or mage based. I mean, maybe a mix of both, but I'd imagine primarily range, so you'd want to go ahead and invest into scales. The good thing about scales is even if scales don't go up, you could also have the trident be useful in magic, so that could also be very helpful as well. Alright, and next up is Saradomin Potions. So basically, I mean, these are pretty self-explanatory, I feel like, for the most part. Once you get the idea of one, you kind of have an idea of all of them. It's pretty much going to be stuff that needs to be used in fight caves currently. So on top of that, you obviously have Saradomin Brews. Now, these are at about 7k now, which is relatively low to what they've been recently, so not too bad at all. Basically, these are going to go up solely because they're the only way that you're going to be able to beat the boss. Like, you're not going to be able to take in regular food, so Saradomin Potions will need to be used. Now, on top of this, you guys can go ahead and invest into other things if you don't want to invest into these, or you think maybe too many people have invested into Saradomin Brews. You can also go and buy crushed or regular bird's nest. As you guys can see, 5k, that's not the real price because so many are like bought instantly, but you can go ahead and buy bird's nest for about 5k. These are a ingredient used to make Saradomin Potions 3, and so investing in these would also work in case you want to kind of vary up what you're currently invested in. And now we have Dragon Darts. So these are the ones that I feel like could be really good as far as where they can reach. They realistically have no cap. There's no way to like make Dragon Darts come into the game. Like with Rune and Adamant, you obviously have the bars restrictions, so like the bars have to go up with the dart tips. And with Dragon Darts, you really don't have that. I think Dragon Darts mainly come into the game through stuff like Implings and just random bosses in the Wildy, KBD in particular, and just other sort of bosses. So it's a relatively low, like, these darts don't come into the game a ton, so if they were to go up at one point, they'll go up a ton. I feel like these could go from 3k to maybe even 4k per one. As far as Saradomin Potions, I know I didn't say that a second ago, but maybe from 7 to around 8 to 8.5. It's just, like, investing into those things is pretty much a guarantee. Dragon Darts, however, could be a little bit of a risk because, I mean, realistically, after people start to do the initial raids with Dragon Darts, if it's too easy, people won't need Dragon Darts and could use Rune. People still could go for times and pets and stuff like that, so maybe some of the more rich players would use these. I feel like it'd be a pretty decent investment and relatively low risk, just like most of these investments are. Other safe investments I'll go ahead and talk about in my bank right now are just your relatively just common ranging gear, because that's what is going to be used, at least we think. So investing into Carills and a blowpipe, or you could also invest into weapons like blowpipe, like the trident, the blowpipe, the serp helm, because if scales go up, they'll go up as well. So in case you want to kind of, you know, like hedge your bets, I guess. I don't really know how you'd go about doing that. It's kind of almost the same item in essence. So just go ahead and invest in pretty much anything that you think could be used, but I mean, I would say the safest is range armor and pretty much anything that you will need to eat or drink or use in the cave. So you guys can come up with that on your own. Obviously, maybe some of the prices of the things in this video may have changed since I released it, but I'd assume not too many people are going to go out and invest a ton. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of talk real quick about why I think that this is a good investment, because obviously it's almost a guarantee. And I'll go ahead and tell you why. So basically, buying up stuff that's going to be usable in the raids as far as potions is pretty much a guarantee. Like, that's going to go up because you'll need potions unless it's like The only way it wouldn't is if it was like raids where you had to make your own stuff in there. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think they have any intentions of that. So potions and consumable items is pretty much guaranteed. Now investing into stuff like darts and scales and stuff like that, maybe a little less guaranteed. I'd imagine it will be used with range. At least range will be used in the caves. So you guys can go ahead and do that on your own. But there is one way that you can promise that you'll make money, and that's by buying now and selling before the release of the raids, or before the release of the Inferno. So basically what's going to happen is in the week prior to the Inferno, all the prices of everything is just going to skyrocket in preparation for it. You can go ahead and sell off then if you want to be safe and go ahead and get your profits. However, if you want to kind of be a little riskier, you can wait until release date and then hope that the items that you're invested in are actually needed more than they are. This kind of happened with raids in the past. Most armor and weapons and everything went up before raids, and then after raids came out and stuff became usable or unusable and people figured out what was best, then the prices shift from there. Something like the arcane that went up just a ton is an example of being lucky maybe on an investment, but you can always sell before the Inferno and pretty much guarantee that you'll make money. So hopefully this video is helpful. I know if you guys already kind of thought about this investment, this video may not be as helpful, but for the people that never thought about it and have never invested before, hopefully it was helpful to you. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like. If you guys really enjoy my content and want to see it as soon as it comes out, make sure to subscribe. And yeah, comment down below anything you guys want to tell me, and there's also Twitter in the description, so feel free to hit that up. But with that being said, that'll be it for me this video. Hope you guys have a wonderful